bowled him. Jadeja finishes the job for India, and what a job he's done this morning. Absolute demolition job.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Pint. On today's episode, we'll cover all the news and results from the second test, Australia versus India. We'll also touch on the events from the NBA AllStars over the weekend, and we'll have all the sports whisperers, news and tips. We'll bunch it all up, shove it down your throat, and wash it down with a pint. Holshi, we have an intruder.
We do. Tick's sick. So
I'm in. I made it. My debut.
Just when you thought this pod didn't get any better looking, in comes Boof. Boof and Holshi. We are all here, and we're going to start us off. Actually, tell us a bit about yourself first.
Thank you, Goldie. Holshi, how are you, mate?
Well, mate, well.
I am Boof. I am here. I'm here to replace Tick. He doesn't know it yet. Tick, I wish you all the best in finding a new podcast to be on. It's great to take your spot.
It's great to have you here instead of Tick.
Way better looking, I reckon.
Oh, 100%, 100%. Speaking of cricket, we're obviously going to touch that in a second. You've obviously had a big game on the weekend as well.
Yeah. We'll coach the side on the weekend that
had a win.
Just. They just got over the line. It was a bit dicey there for a little bit. Lost the toss. Not a good start.
Not a good start.
We were going to have a bowl. We lost the toss and had a bat.
And?
We posted 121. We thought probably not enough.
And?
The bowlers went out and thought different, and they thought they'd just roll them for 7.
All out for 7. Was that 9 ducks or something I saw?
It was 9 ducks. One bloke scored 3 runs.
3 runs.
Who was the top scorer?
Wides.
David Warner?
David Wide.
David Wide. Oh.
David Wide. 4 extras. 8 unassisted wickets.
Good stuff. Subby Parks, Townsville, Subby Parks, big shout out to you guys. Love that cricket club. Boys, we'll touch on the Australia versus India second test. What can you tell us about that?
Shithouse.
It was very shithouse. It started off all right. I mean, we started off all right.
Yeah, look, it's one of those games where if you're going to beat a team like India, you need to perform every day. And unfortunately, we've shown 2 tests in a row that we can roll over really, really quickly in a test. And it's annoying and fucking frustrating.
It is. Well, I suppose one of the biggest reasons why we don't do so well would have to be the reason we don't tour the country first. We didn't do any practice matches, any lead-up matches or anything like that. We didn't get a feel for any of the pitches or any conditions. Or obviously, they use a completely different ball to what we're used to. They're using the SG ball, I think it's called. We use the Kookaburra ball. So they're 2 completely different balls. Obviously, they've got a more prominent seam on their ball, which assists their spinners. Their pitchers assist their spinners. And we rocked up with 2 pace bowlers the first test.
Yeah. To me, it also not only sort of the arrogance to not have any practice over there, but I don't know what their plan is when they go into these games, because it seems to flip on its head day to day, hour to hour. One day they're playing with intent, next day they're just trying to survive. What are they trying to do? And when they do start showing a bit, I'm not sure why they don't continue that. The other night, when Marnus Labuschagne and Travis Head were batting, they were using their feet. For the first time in the 2-test series, they were using their feet really, really well.
That was the end of the second night.
That's right. Right. I think they took us to 1 for around the 50 mark. And Ravi, Ashwin and Jadeja all of a sudden didn't have control of the game. And I'm like, this is it. We've worked it out, used the feet. But then the next day comes around, and all of a sudden, we're playing out of our crease again. And I don't know how many sweep shots I saw played, but I'm no gun cricketer, not like Boof.
They scored 100 the other way, didn't you, Holsh?
I did get that 100. But if a wicket has variable bounce, cross-bat shots are not ideal. Not ideal. Yet Australia have gone from a method that was working to let's sweep everything, and we capitulated. The problem with sweeping is it's almost a predetermined shot. So if you're sweeping, okay, I'm going to sweep the ball. When they use their feet, They can come forward and they can still make a decision to defend or attack. But when you sweep, that's it. You're going to hit that.
You've committed.
Yeah, that's right.
Same with the reverse sweep. I saw that a few times too. Just before Labuschagne went out, he's done a couple of sweep shots. A couple of them pulled off. He pulled a couple of them off.
Did he now?
He did.
Lucky
and one of them, I think there was an appeal for LBW. I'm like, here we go. Not this. What are you doing? But he got away with that one. And then that was the story for the rest of the day, really, or half a day.
Yeah, I think the reverse sweep's even worse. Like, it's even more predetermined. Once you're in that reverse sweep position,
it's their go-to shots now. So
it's becoming part of the game now.
It is, but on a wicket like that, I don't know.
But Jadeja, what's his name? The left arm spinner from India. He said it perfect. They asked him after the game, "Is that the sort of pitch you should be sweeping on, or is this the sweep the way to go?" He goes, "Not on that pitch."
I didn't see too many of them doing it. So
look, I can understand Uzi in the first innings when he's 50 not out and seeing him really well, and he understands exactly how the wicket's playing. But people coming in and doing reverse sweeps on their second ball doesn't make any sense to me.
The skipper, Cummins, in the second innings, he decided to go the slog sweep, the normal sweep, first up, first ball.
And that's when we were struggling we needed something. We needed a captain's knock, like he did in the first innings. He got about 30 or so runs, which is really good.
If we'd have scraped to 200, it would have been game on.
I think so.
100%.
Yep. But we didn't. And to make matters worse, there's obviously some injury news that's just come out. With Warner, he'll be flying back alongside Hazelwood and Cummings as well, but Cummings is going to come back.
Yeah, and there's rumours that perhaps Ashton Agar and Matty Renshaw might be heading along with them, which, I mean, it doesn't surprise me, but it does.
You're in,
Sweet. Finally, I got my call up. I've been waiting for years. I was named in A grade on the weekend, if you really need to know, but we didn't get on Saturday. But Agar, he's been on an Indian holiday. He's gone over there, left arm spinner. We bring over Kuhneman. What's the point in him being there from the get-go? And Renshaw's carrying that little bit of a knee niggle, so I can understand why he's coming home. But why did we take Agar in the first instant if we're not going to play him at all?
Who do we replace these guys with?
Well, for me, I'll go. The next test is going to be a batter's wicket. It's the Holkar Cricket Stadium. It's going to be more of a batter's wicket than the last two tests have been more spinners. So I don't think they're going to go in. Obviously, they won't go in with the three spinners. I reckon they'll probably even go in with one spinner. I'm going with, which will be Nathan Lyon. I think Warner's obviously going to be out. Murphy and Kuhneman will come out as well, and we'll bring in. Well, depending on Renshaw, if Renshaw's still fit, he'll stay in there. But I dare say Green and Stark will come in and replace. So a bit more pace. A bit extra bowling. Like I said, this next test, more of a batters. The boundaries are in a lot more of a track rather than a croc slide like the last couple have been.
Yeah, I think Green is critical to this side. That last test, even when he had the broken finger and he showed that he could dog out an innings, that's who we needed on that second inning. So, and he's also a very good straight bat player. So I think he is someone that could be a good prototype for the Indian wickets. Credit to Peter Handscomb. I have never rated him at all, and I watched most of his first innings, and he batted sensationally. And once again, it's one of those where you need that balance between the intent and someone that can hold one end. And I think Handscomb has basically already put himself in a position that I think he'll be picked in the Ashes tour, just purely because of these slower wickets, and he has got the patience and technique.
He would definitely be in the touring squad for England. I wouldn't have him in my best 11 in England. If David Warner's fit, I think he goes back to the top of the order, although he struggles in England conditions with the swinging ball, and especially against Broad and the Australian conditions.
In all honesty, they will probably pick him, but I don't know why. His record in England is it's marginally better than India. So I don't understand why Australian players can't be a horses for courses scenario. He's a flat track bully. We all know that.
Very much so.
So let him. He should have finished in Australia on a high.
with that 200. I think in the last 15, 20 innings, it's been rubbish at best, except for that 200 that he made. Where was that? Was that Gabba? Where was that?
Melbourne.
No, that was Melbourne.
MCG.
Yeah,
Road.
so, again, a road. But I don't know, maybe this next test would have suited him if he wasn't injured, being that smaller sort of stadium. So we'll never know. I think he's going back. Boof, who's your in and outs, mate?
Well, I've got Green coming back in and Stark coming back in, with Renshaw going out, as well as Warner, obviously, the same, just one spot there. And I've got Kuhnemann going out. So Green and Stark in, Renshaw and Kuhnemann out. I think they go with the two spinners still, with Lyon and Murphy, because you get that extra seamer in Green. So you've got your two opening bowlers, a first change bowler, still two spinners. But I think we got to look more at Marnus Labuschagne, Travis Head, C. Smith with the ball as well. We do it in Australia. We change it up. We give plenty of overs. We got here that Head's bowled 3 overs in his one test. He should have played 2. And Marnus has bowled 5 overs in the first test. And Renshaw bowled 1. So there's 9 overs from the part-timers, where in Australia they would have bowled probably 20 in a test match.
Bit of a question mark over Murphy as well.
Yeah, with that side strain, he's battling a sore side. If he doesn't get up, then Kuhnemann keeps his spot, I reckon.
So you're hell-bent on 2 spinners?
Yeah, I reckon so. I reckon still they've seen how we played spin in the first 2 tests. They're not going to go out there and make a Bruce Highway for us to bat on. It's still going to be a raging turn, I reckon. Yeah.
Good stuff. You've done yours.
Yeah, look, I'm the same as Boof, except I probably actually would keep in Kuhnemann. Murphy's first game is outstanding, but if he is battling a side strain, I think they'd rest him this game and just give us that left-right hand bowling combo. I thought Kuhnemann bowled quite well in the first innings of this match, and Stark definitely, to bring in Stark and Green, it balanced our team completely. Stark can bat a bit too, which,
we haven't had that all series.
Yeah, or Green, obviously. Green's all class. He's going to be a great cricketer, so I'm with Boof apart from Kuhnemann.
Yep. Very good. I don't think there's anything else we sort of need to really touch on with the cricket, unless you boys have got anything else.
No, that's all I've had
Good
written down.
stuff. Righto, we'll kick on with the NBA. The NBA All-Stars, mate, that was held over the weekend, and it was, speaking of rubbish, that was shithouse. I love NBA, obviously basketball. I really rate it. I've never been a fan of the All-Stars, and this sort of solidified why it's a bit of a joke. I mean, you got the skills challenge or lack thereof that they started off with, which was average at best. Did you guys see it?
I did watch it. Unfortunately, I put myself through the pain of watching it, and I looked at the first pass they have to do, and with my bung shoulders, I was still making that from where they had to. That was terrible.
You're not getting 200 mil in a bloody year.
Be nice.
Skills challenge. There was obviously 3 teams. I think there was the Antetokounmpos versus Jazz and the rookies as well. Yep. I think Jazz ended up taking that out, but it was sort of woeful. Anyway, looked a bit more like a under 10s sort of training drill. There was air balls galore. There was missed shots from 3 meters away. Anyway, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it was
I'm
a
not
debacle.
in that. Yep, I'm not in that sort of area, but then they moved on to that 3-point competition, which I was sort of looking forward to. I knew there wasn't too many superstars doing it, except for you had Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton and Damian Lillard as well. So those guys I was looking forward to seeing, and same with Buddy Hield as well. So watched that, wasn't too bad. Any comments on that?
Yeah, look, I enjoyed it, but once again, even there, I think of the past 3-point contest where you see some of these guys like nailing 17 straight. I didn't see anything like that here. There was, I can't even remember where they went 10 straight for two stations. So, I mean, Dame Lillard is a freak, and I think I was saying to Goldie today, I think he shoots better when he has someone in front of him, and or if he's just over the half court. But congrats to him; he is an all-time legend.
What's Tyler Hero? His first, I think he missed his first 7 or 8 shots.
I watched that, and I got my notes here. You cannot be my hero, baby.
I like it.
Yep.
A
He was
little
terrible.
bit of tick. A little bit of tick in this Boof guy.
Yeah,
You're
I've
way
been watching
funnier
him.
than Tick. You're way funnier than
and I do it stand-up comedy as well.
Buddy Hildy, who was last year's champion, he ended up coming second, I think, to Damien. But yeah, no, it was the Dame Time show. Anyway, we'll move on from that and go to the dunk competition, I think, which, you know, again, looking at the lineups for that, you had Trey Murphy, or I was looking forward to looking at Trey Murphy III, and also I think it was Jericho Sims.
Yes.
They were the only sort of guys that I was sort of interested to see, and they were let down at best as well. Some little fella.
Yeah,
He looked little.
There's hope for us yet, Goldie.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so.
He
but
was-
White men
awesome.
can jump.
yeah, out of the whole NBA dunk competition, he's the second ever white man to take it out.
He was outstanding.
He was
He was
really good.
fantastic. It was amazing to watch.
He's only played, I think, 2 games before, maybe. I think he's might be on a 1-year contract with the 76ers, I think. Again, just guessing. But no, he...
Was it Mac McClung?
Yes, Mac.
McClung. Yeah.
McClung, yeah. So
He looked like a cartoon character, his face. Like
he did. He looked like someone had the Jetsons or something.
Yeah.
He whipped out his uni jersey to finish as well. For his last dunk. That was pretty cool.
I think he nailed every single day. Yeah, out of the possible 200 points, I think he got like 199.8 points.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So no, but out of all them, he nailed it. And
I think through high school or college or one of those, he went viral with
Yes.
his dunking, and I think that's what's given him this little step into the. And I can't help but feel he's going to turn into a cult hero across the NBA now, even though he's not playing. This dunk competition, I reckon, will continuously be brought up as one of those great performances for the next few decades.
We sort of broke the internet with it afterwards. I think everyone just went nuts.
It's
Well,
probably
they went
because all
nuts
the
at the
rest
stadium.
was so shit. They're
Well,
like, we better
yeah.
really pump
Yeah.
this one up.
I didn't mind that Trey Murphy one at first because he faked it, walked around, and then had someone run out from the crowd and steal the ball and then assist
Alvarado.
him for the dunk. Yeah, I didn't mind that. I thought,
that was
this
good.
bloke's going to be on his bit of crowd involvement, but geez, he went ordinary from there.
Some dude brought out a 3D ball or something like that. I thought, oh, here we go. Brings his own bloody...
All of them are 3D. I don't know if you've noticed.
as in like a 3D.
They're all round.
Bring back Tick. Anything else to touch on that, boys?
No, not really. The game today,
Oh, the game. Yeah, sorry. that was a shit fight.
That was
NBA.
terrible.
I know you're watching. No, that was rubbish. I think it ended up being 180 odd to 170 odd. There was no defense whatsoever. It was all offense. Did you watch the trade leading up to it at all? The
No.
trades. No, they did it. They obviously pick Giannis Antetokounmpo and LeBron James. They did pick for pick, and the very last person to be picked from the bench was, Jaren Jackson Jr., which is the block king. The only one that could probably defend at the whole thing, and there's probably a reason why he was the last one picked because no one defended whatsoever.
You know where they got the idea for the draft of them two picking their players from were? Oh, they watched the Pint podcast the other week when you guys did your T20. They watched and thought, we're going to get around that idea.
I like it.
clever. No.
So,
We don't
famous boys.
even touch on that poll. That was a rigged. Speaking of cheating, that was a rigged shit poll too.
there's only one clear winner and he won.
Thank you.
Whole sheet.
Yeah.
Oh,
Appreciate that. I was thinking about it today, and realistically, this is just a rest for the players, the All-Star period, and the NBA just want more money. So they put on this. It's been a joke for a couple of decades now as far as the actual commitment for anyone to the game. But people still watch it and buy all the merchandise. So while they're doing that, the NBA is not going to change a thing, I don't think. But there's no way I have any interest in watching it. So
Yeah, I won't be going back next year, that's for sure.
bring on the Suns next match in a couple of days' time with KD.
who they play? Oh, they got KD. Is his
KD's
knee
going to be
good?
back. He said his knee is solid.
I'll give it 10 minutes into the first quarter.
Solid toothpick. All right, so what we'll touch on now is the Sports Whisperers tips and news. So we've obviously got a couple of tips that are due on Thursday. So we've got the Super Rugby Pacific Rugby Union coming up Thursday. Make sure you put your tips in. It takes 2 seconds to do so. I think Holshy's already sent out the email to everyone who has registered. If you haven't registered and you want to be involved, obviously you just go straight onto the website that we'll put up, follow the bouncing ball for that, and you can start tipping as soon as possible.
And you'll still be able to catch Holshy.
And, well, that can't be hard. It can't be hard. So we might just go into...
First, I might give a bit of a wrap of how the comp works for those that don't know the Super Pacific. Super Rugby's been around a long time, but it's changed. More teams have come in. There's been COVID. Used to be South Africa for a period there, and now it's come back. So it's now 5 New Zealand teams, 5 Australian teams, a Fijian team, and a Pacific Island team called, I think it's like Moana. You're welcome. So 12 sides, and they play 14 games each. So the season isn't, the length of an NRL or an AFL season. 14 games. So they play each other once, and then they have what they call three rivalry matches. Out of those 12 sides, 8 make the finals. So fair chance, if you can't pick someone that makes the 8, you shouldn't be in this tipping comp. But the funny thing is, I looked at it, if you're number 1, first week of finals you play number 8, you can get knocked out. So there's no there's obviously value to coming top, but there's no rest week that you get honoured with for becoming minor premiers in this comp. It's a straight tree knockout, similar to the tennis. And the other thing to note for people tipping out there is this year is a World Cup year. So one every 4 years, and it's September in France. So a lot of teams in these World Cup years, they'll try a lot more variance in their game because they might be trying to prepare a certain way for these players come World Cup time. And there's also mandatory breaks for the New Zealand All Black squad. I'm not sure how that works with Australia, whether they do similar, but I have read that New Zealand, they're not allowed to play certain weeks. So they have enough rests, so injury-free come World Cup. But I think if we each touch on a few of the teams that people might, we consider contenders, so everyone out there can decide on what they'd like. You want to kick it off, Goldie?
Yeah, righto. So I'm going to kick this off with the Canterbury Crusaders. So I didn't pick these guys, so don't go start putting in your tips.
So you changed already?
No, I didn't pick these guys. However, I think they will be the favourites, or they are going to be the favourites. They're going to be the teams to beat. They were last year's winners. They played against the Blues. They dominated them. In the past 7 seasons, they haven't finished any lower than 3rd as well. So they're going to be right up there regardless. They've sort of got a good balance between old and new players. There's a lot of players on this team who are playing for the All Blacks. So a lot of good players in this side, hence why they're going to be, or they always have been the sort of the team to beat, or there or thereabouts for me anyway. So one of the players I'm looking forward to seeing is Will Jordan, I think his name is. He's going to be he's probably one of the best fullbacks in the competition. He plays for All Blacks as well, dominates in that area, massive kick and chase try that he got against the Wallabies late last year. That was pretty special to watch. So he's a young and up and comer. So I think he'll absolutely dominate. The coach, I think he's going to be his last season this year. I think it's Scott Robertson.
Yeah, Scott Robertson.
He is obviously a fantastic coach, but what he's best known for, well, I think he's best known for is his break dancing after every trophy they sort of win. So he does this break dance move, which I think is pretty special. I wouldn't mind.
I haven't seen that.
No, I wouldn't mind seeing.
I'm going to put that up behind us right now.
Yep. Wouldn't mind seeing Vossi doing that, but he does a break dance. Vossi will be doing that at the end of this season.
I hope so. Just after a game that we win would be nice.
It can't be any worse than 2018. Anyway, so I find it hard to see any other team sort of, beating them. I definitely see them in the top 2, but I don't know. I find it hard to see anyone else beating them. There's a couple of cons that come with that. Because they got so many All Blacks players in the side, they do have rest periods for the All Blacks throughout the season. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what I read today.
Yeah.
So
obviously the World Cup is coming up towards the end of the year. I think it's in September, something like that.
Yep.
So there will be a couple of weeks where they will rest a lot of their good players. So that could be a factor that's might get them a couple of losses. Who knows? But like I said, they do have a lot of good players coming up, good young talent coming up that can replace those guys. So that is the Canterbury Crusaders.
Yeah. So Scott Robertson, as you said, Goldie, this is going to be his last season. I think he's earmarked to be the next All Blacks coach following year. It's not official, but that sort of shows the pedigree of coach he is.
Pretty high rated then.
Yeah, and also Richie Mo'unga, who is a freak in Super Rugby football for a long time. It's also his last year before he pisses off to Japan to play. So he's a bit of a Crusaders legend of all time. So you see these two leaving, it just seems like that's going to be the story at the end of the season.
You reckon the script's already written?
Yeah, it worries me.
They'll be favourites leading into the season anyway. So,
Yep.
Boof, who we got, mate?
We got the Auckland Blues.
Yes.
I love my Blues.
This
Carlton, New South Wales, the Blues, way to go. If you follow them, you're going all right.
can't go wrong.
No.
Can't go wrong.
So Auckland Blues, they finished top of the ladder last year with an incredible 13 out of 14 games won. And then they obviously lost the final. They lost the 2 games, obviously. They lost the first and the last. So consistency there. They've got a very dominant forward pack. It's flush with All Blacks. So that's really going to help them this year. The con to that is that come the rest weeks, they lose that forward pack.
Same as Crusaders, yeah.
Yes, it's largely unchanged from last year as well. So making the grand final last year, keep the squad together. It's obviously a good start to the year. And a softer draw than last year really benefits them. But a con, which I like, they had the most yellow cards in a season last year. I love that.
That's tough.
They play the same sort of footy that I do.
it.
Hard, and if you can get a cheap hit in, just go for it. Just don't get caught.
Good
Good
stuff.
at it.
Yeah, no, I think they call the Crusaders and the Blues the big two in Super Rugby. So
Yeah.
I think you lads are...
Well, I
it'll
jumped on
be
board the
one or
Blues.
two.
They're my pick this year. I'm not going to change.
So,
Okay.
Got it.
Noted. So I'm going to talk about the third New Zealand side that we're going to talk about tonight, and that's the Waikato Chiefs. I think Sonny Bill Williams played for them a few years ago. That was the side when he left league and went over. He played for the Chiefs. So the Chiefs finished mid-pack of the finals run last year, but in the end they finished third after stringing together a few wins in the finals run. The big news with them is Damien McKenzie, who's an absolute attacking weapon. He was playing a 1-year sabbatical over in Japan. He's returned. And it's sort of said, I remember hearing someone say that these guys, professionally, the skill they have, they are good enough to win the comp, but they just needed a little bit of X factor. And this guy coming back will give them a lot more attacking prowess and ability to finish off tries. So, and he's also a favourite son at Waikato, so he'll slot back in at fullback. And the other thing is they're a young team with a lot of sort of on the brink All Blacks that are going to be starting to come into the side as some of the more experienced players exit. So they're going to be one of those teams that should take a bit more of a leap. But yeah, on the back of that, come finals, if they play the Crusaders, I think that experience still comes in play big time to put on a polished performance for that full 80 minutes. That's where the Crusaders they're just so clinical. They don't give you an inch. But I think the Chiefs are one of those teams that if they put it together, they could beat anybody in the comp. So yeah, I think there'll be a few selections out there for these guys.
Good stuff. So they're our international sort of sides, aren't they?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so we'll touch on the Australian sides now, and I've got a smoky. So my smoky is the Brumbies. Okay, so that's not much of a smoky because I
Is this
think
your tip?
No. Do we get 2 tips? Because this is my smoky tip. So they're probably the best and most consistent Australian side that we've got. That's going to be in the competition. They had a poor finish last year, so they were coming second, and then they lost like the last 3 games when they ended up coming 4th overall. So they were doing well. A couple of injuries and a couple of shit calls that went against them, resulting in them finishing 4th or losing a couple of those close games and finishing 4th. Then they've got they'll welcome back Stephen Larkham. So Stephen Larkham is one of Australia's probably greatest fly halves that we've sort of have. So he's a 2-time Super Rugby winner and also a coach as well. So they'll welcome him back to oversee the Brumbies side. I think that's nothing but positive for them. Also, I think if they just find some early form, I think if they win a couple of early games, it will sort of set them up to really project themselves into later into their season. So I think they're just really heavily reliant on getting a good start and so really solidate the side together. A couple of cons that I've got for them though, they do lose some key, or they've got some key departures that lost. One of them is one of the Wallabies players, which is Folau Fainga.
Classic Wallabies name, that.
Yep. Array, it gets better. Array Simone.
Nailed it.
Name it.
I don't know.
Right. Yep, nailed it. He's a destructive sort of a centre. He's pretty fast. And speaking of fast, you got the Tom Banks, who is absolutely lightning. They lose those guys. Obviously, it opens up the doors for a couple of the younger players to come through. But again, I don't know if they'll win it, because I honestly think that it's going to be the Crusaders or the Blues. However, they are smoky. Who knows?
Yep.
Boof,
On to
who you
mine.
got, mate?
Keeping with my Blues fashion, New South Wales Waratahs. It's my second pick. If we're allowed to,
Is this a smoky?
No, you're not allowed to.
No, this isn't a smoky. This is just, it's going to be the Blues versus Waratahs in the final.
You're allowed to change your tip.
Blues. Oh, hey, John Stewart, how are you? So, the Waratahs, stacked with Wallabies. Stacked. If they're stacked with Wallabies, they play for Australia. They're obviously good. They're a younger side that actually knocked off the Crusaders to get into finals last year. So if the Crusaders are number 1 to win it, and when they've knocked him off last year, they've got the ability to do it again this year. And picked up some quality ins. One that probably won't play for a little bit, but Kurtley Bill.
What's that, mate?
He's going through some court issues at the moment.
What about?
The police don't like him.
Roger.
Yep. So won't mention on the podcast. We're a family-friendly podcast.
Are we?
I believe so. But the only con is the depth of the side. If they get some injuries, being a younger side, they're going to have to go even younger again. So if the younger fellas can step up, then there's still a big chance. But if their key fellas get injured early and they don't have the much depth coming through the side as well,
It might really hurt them if they do have Wallabies rest weeks, because if they don't have that depth interesting.
I did read something today about Eddie Jones. You know, he's come back in as the Wallabies coach now.
Yeah, yep.
He's really focused on the Waratahs this year. He sees a lot of potential new players coming through that may not already played that could play for the Wallabies. So if the Australian coaches already look at them, they must be all right.
There you go. There you go.
I didn't know that.
For the tipsters. And we'll finish off with you, Mr. Holsh.
Okay, so I get to do a little bit of a spiel on my beloved Queensland Reds, wearing the new kit, because they're playing in Townsville this Saturday night. Queensland Reds versus the Hurricanes.
Are we all going?
I've already got tickets.
Nice.
I'll be working it.
Yeah,
I'll be watching on TV, so we're all three will watch.
Yeah.
Nice.
The Reds a couple of years ago they just showed this crazy amount of improvement, and they changed their style to a much more entertaining brand of football, and it was great. No team was safe against us. Then last year we went backwards a bit. So Brad Thorne is the coach, has been the coach for a few years now, and there's a lot of pressure on Brad Thorne to try and get the Reds back to that level that they were at. It's described that the Reds play the most similar game to the New Zealand style of footy. But the big news is their absolute superstar forward, Taniela Tupou, or Tupou. He ruptured his Achilles end of last year, and they've lost him for the year. And the big worry is that the Reds forward pack is not going to be able to match some of these, the Brumbies and Waratahs, and obviously all these Kiwi sides have got excellent forward packs. But I don't think they will win the comp. But I think they're definitely someone that could be on the radar if you were looking for double points and could sneak into that top 4. So I hope the Reds do well, but I also tend to think the Waratahs could be the top Australian team this year.
Waratahs? Didn't like me Brumbies pitch.
Yeah, no, it was okay.
I just really sold it.
Did.
Yeah.
Oh.
So what's your tip, Goldie? Did
Brumbies. No. So my tip that I've done is the Blues.
I'll say you're both Blues.
Yep.
Okay.
Who'd you go?
I'm gonna go the Chiefs. So obviously still a quality team, and they'll have to have a bit of luck with injuries, but I think they could be the most dangerous team in the comp if they can just keep the injuries aboard. And I should also mention that Tick messaged me earlier to state that he is also going the Chiefs because of how well they went in the Super Bowl. He felt that they'd probably continue that form.
I'm going to say before that Mahomes isn't playing the rugby union. He just throws balls.
This is
forward.
why you replaced him.
So same time next week, boys?
Mate, you're in.
Yes.
You're in. Gotta get rid of that bloke.
By the way, your beer's a bit hot too, by the way.
Yeah, you're unreal. I think that pretty much wraps it up for us tonight. Massive thank you to Boof. You'll be here again next week, no doubt.
I can't wait, boys. I'll be here same time.
Yeah, no, we won't tell you what time because Tick is watching, so
Yeah.
it might be a day early.
No, we're doing it on Saturday.
Saturday,
same time the Reds are playing.
But again, if you can, please hit that like and subscribe button. We are obviously just a podcast that's sort of just starting up, so it'll be massive, help for us or to get that like and subscribe from you guys. We are slowly building, and it's only going to get bigger from here on in. So please do us a favour, do that whole like and subscribe thing, and that's pretty much it for us. Thank you very much. Until next week, thank you.
Cheers, everyone.